Approach to dentistry begins with sincerely listening to the patient and wanting to find out more about where they're coming from and what they're looking for and what they want. The most satisfying thing about my job is when a patient leaves and they say, wow, that was easier than I expected it to be. I love to make dentistry easy for people.
James Craig went from smiling and promoting his dental practice to facing murder charges. He's accused of killing his wife by poisoning her protein shakes. The father of 6 has pleaded not guilty to killing his wife of 2 decades. Prosecutors claim the dentist searched online for ways to poison his wife in a way that would appear to be accidental. Angela Craig died back in March of 2023 of poisoning from a substance that's found in over-the-counter eye drops. This is according to the medical examiner who performed her autopsy. Now, there are also allegations of multiple affairs for the dentist as well. Scripps News Denver has more on the case.
In court documents, prosecutors say the most damning evidence against the Aurora dentist accused of poisoning his wife's protein shakes comes from one of his mistresses. James Craig faces a first-degree murder charge and charges of tampering with physical evidence related to the death of his wife, Angela, in March of 2023. Prosecutors claim evidence from a mistress show Craig wanted to kill his wife long before her death. For instance, voice messages allegedly between Craig and the mistress say things like, "Do you know anyone who can help me with my problem down here? I can pay handsomely. I want to be with you." And hitting up a homeless person actually sounds like the only choice right now. Craig's defense attorneys argue this evidence should not be admitted at trial, saying it would violate their client's due process rights and that the witness was coerced into making statements against their clients. More than that, the defense wants all of the charges against Craig dropped, saying there's been outrageous government conduct in the case. Prosecutors say the witness spoke with investigators voluntarily and are requesting the judge deny the defense's motion without a hearing.
Oh my, there's so much more to discuss here. I've got 2 great guests to help me do that. Still with me, attorney John Phillips and private investigator and retired Army intelligence officer Manuel Gomez. Whew, all right. When I first heard about this, I kept thinking, oh, we've seen an eye drops murder case before. We saw a trial playing out here on court TV. So let's start first with the allegations of the murder and the way in which was done. Manuel Gomez, let me start with you. As an investigator, talk to us a little bit about what goes into cracking a case such as this one, where you got the smiling dentist and nothing appears on the surface to be wrong.
Well, you know, one of the things I want to highlight in the beginning is that there was a failure of the hospital. This lady went numerous times, and yeah, granted, potassium cyanide is the chemical that can barely be detected, but arsenic is one that does get detected, and even in small doses. And the fact that she went over several times to the hospital and no one detected this, I mean, it's just a travesty of the medical practice that this woman died because they failed to identify this chemical. And it's sad because this has happened in numerous cases throughout the past 10 years. I've seen at least 20 of them, and that, you know, people are going, trying to get help, and, you know, doctors like this take advantage of their skills.
This is really great insight, Manuel. And let's take it a step further. John Phillips, let me tell you your legal expertise. Could there be grounds for a civil lawsuit against the hospital, perhaps?
You know, I hadn't thought of that, and I agree. You know, malpractice and kind of what the standard of care is, you know, they're difficult cases. But certainly, if there was something that reasonably should have been protected with the course of tests that she was undergoing, you know, that could lead to a medical malpractice or medical negligence type of lawsuit. But it's a bit of a stretch, right? Because they're not, unless there's signs of abuse, they're not exactly looking for abuse. This is a wild one, Julie. And one would think with him being a dentist and some level of a high-profile dentist, that eye drops wouldn't have been his weapon of choice, right?
Great point. Great point. Yeah.
He had access to other things.
Right. It's a really good point. John Phillips, okay, would you use that in your defense? Like, you're defending this guy.
I mean, you throw whatever you can at the wall. You know, hey, murder for hire. I represent Joe Exotic. So I've seen government misconduct. Like, we have a motion for new trial pending the appellate court where there was significant government misconduct. But just because you get caught doesn't mean it's government misconduct. And so they're already kind of showing that their defense strategy is a little bit desperate. But you know, you do whatever you can when you're trying to save a man from a life in prison.
Sure. No, appreciate that, John. Let's take a look together at some of the digital evidence that the investigators collected against Dr. James Craig. They really dug into search history. According to the affidavit, a detective found this after asking his Google account, quote, beginning on February 27, 2023, we observed that the user had conducted searches related to poison. Those searches included how many grams of pure arsenic will kill a human, and is arsenic detectable in autopsy? Later in the affidavit, there's some more interesting stuff. Look at this. The search history provided YouTube searches for top 5 undetectable poisons that show no signs of foul play, how to make poison, and the top 10 deadliest plants. They can kill you. Oh, Manuel Gomez sounds like a smart guy doing some research, but not smart enough, apparently. The cops are smarter. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, you know, when I see this case, it also brings me back to the Walsh case. Because, you know, in the Walsh case, what do? The guy was looking up online what to do to how to bury a woman, how to cleaning products used, and so forth. And in this case, he does exactly the same thing. He goes online, and this is the damning evidence I know is going to find him guilty, and showing what type of poisons, how to kill my wife. And this is something that I'm seeing, unfortunately, to be in a pattern. A lot of these sophisticated killers, they're using the internet, and that is their downfall. And I think this is one of the reasons why his attorney left. His attorney left because there was a conflict of interest. He knows his client is guilty, and he knows his client is continuously doing things to violate the attorney-client privilege. And this case is just, you know, a travesty that, you know, we have a guy like this doing this to such a decent person. And unfortunately, you know what? He killed her. But the damning evidence that's going to be his downfall is that computer. There is no doubt, just like in the Walsh case.
I appreciate the comparison. Thank you, Manuel. So James Craig's legal problems don't stop there with homicide case. Apparently, just last week, he picked up more charges. He picked up, I believe, prosecutors filed 2 new charges against him: solicitation to commit murder and solicitation to commit perjury. John Phillips, I know you're changing here. Officials say that he was orchestrating the murder of one of the detectives on the case. They allege that he was doing this from his jail as he's awaiting the homicide case involving his wife. How does that exacerbate the situation for you as an attorney if you're representing this guy?
That's probably why his attorney withdrew. You know, once you have one problem, okay, let's try to get you out of that problem. You're going to now try to do a hit on the guys that we need as witnesses, and you're going to destroy my case and my ability to operate under the rules of professional, you know, and put me in ultimate conflicts where I'm almost in the position of being a co-conspirator to not just one murder for hire, but now 2 or 3. And it's terrible. And when you have a client like that, the only thing, you know, professionals do is withdraw. On the same token, you know, he has a right to counsel under the U.S. Constitution. So somebody's going to have to pick this up, probably a public defender, you know. I mean, I guess he has assets. He'll probably, you know, keep trying to hire somebody. But it's crazy, you know, and this doesn't reek of, again, I've dealt with government conspiracy cases where they just throw stuff at the wall over and over. This just sounds like a kind of a guy that's just in over his head, and he keeps standing on top.
Mm-hmm. Right. He was having affairs is the allegation. So get a divorce. You want to go running around and be single? Divorce yourself,
6
right?
kids.
Much easier.
6 kids, too.
Terrible. I feel so bad for the children always. This is just horrible. We've got to leave it there for now, but we'll